There's Councilman Young and Councilman Patoka are filing in. I knew they were here, just didn't know where they were. Welcome to Legislative Day 17. We are hoping that we don't have anything super long-winded today, but I think we'll get right to it. I think first up we have Mr. Terry Hickey. Is Mr. Hickey here? Oh, there you are. You were hiding. And we have two items. There was one, a payment in lieu of pilot for Prescott Square Apartments. And if you wanted to cover the, after that, you want to cover the purchase order for the lead hazard reduction and abatement.
I would appreciate that. Thanks for consolidating.
How are you, sir? You feeling better?
I'm doing okay. Got my one flu of the year out of the way and back up and running. Ms. Bosworth, which one should we do first?
Whatever is your pleasure, sir.
All right.
Councilman Catch is here too.
All right. If you don't mind, let's do Resolution 4725, which is the pilot extension. So good afternoon again. I'm here today on behalf of the administration asking for council approval of Resolution 4725, which authorizes the county to amend an existing pilot agreement with the owner of Prescott Square Apartments, located at 4400 Old Court Road in Pikesville, excuse me, in the 2nd Councilmatic District. The amended agreement, which would replace the one that originally took effect for the fiscal year beginning July 1 of 24, would increase the term of the pilot from 10 to 20 years. This amendment is necessary because after the council approved the original pilot agreement, we got good news. The project was awarded a 9% low-income housing tax credit award, and the pilot needs to match the compliance period of the LIHTC award. So we were hoping that that would be the case. The plan was always to come back and ask the council to extend. So just to give a little bit of background so everybody's with me, on January 16th, 2024, the council approved the first pilot, which was Resolution 324. That was a 10-year pilot for Prescott Square Apartments, which then acquired the building, which is a multifamily community consisting of 77 two-bedroom units. Under the terms of the original pilot, 60 of the 77 two-bedroom units were going to be leased to households at 60% or below AMI, so that would give us 60 units towards the VCA. The bigger plan, however, was if they were awarded the 9% tax credits, that would allow them to renovate the entire building. After the allowance for tax credits, we expect a roughly 12-month renovation period. Ultimately, the building will contain 75 total units, with 70 reserved at 60% or below AMI. That's going to give us 10 more units towards the VCA. The owner is also going to convert 28 of the units from 2-bedroom to 3-bedroom. We really struggle finding 3-bedroom units, which is one of the subcategories of the VCA. So they're going to take 2s, turn them into 3s, and then the one we've really struggled with are accessible units, wheelchair accessible units. They'd be adding 4. So we'll get 28 more 3-bedrooms, we'll get 10 more units, we'll get 4 wheelchair accessible units with a combination of the extended pilot and the low-income housing tax credit. So back to the basics, we're asking the council to approve the resolution that would let us substitute an extended 20-year pilot for the 10 that had already been approved. And with that, I will happily answer any questions you have.
Councilman Marks, did you have a question? I just saw your mic on, sorry. Any other questions from the members? Where is Prescott Square? Is that?
It is
Southwest?
It's in,
oh, it's on Old Court?
sorry, yep, it's on Old Court in Pikesville.
Yes, it's just near the metro station on Old Court Road.
Oh, okay, all right. All right, great. Thank
Awesome.
you, sir. You want to get?
I will do fiscal matter 4, if that's okay.
That would be great.
Then wrap up. So this is a contract issue, and there's a few moving parts here, so I just want to explain it to make sure that we're clear what we're trying to do. So I'm here on behalf of the administration requesting council approval for a contract with Lewis Construction to provide lead hazard reduction and abatement services for 41 apartments at Day Village Townhomes located at 511 North Avondale Road in Dundalk. So the contract is submitted commences September 8th, 2025, and would continue through June 30th, 2026. However, at the administration's request, the contract would be revised to be retroactive, commencing January 18th, 2025, and continuing through November 30th, 2025. The contract is submitted with not to exceed $90,000. So I just want to explain why we had to do this. And part of it is we had a disconnect. So we're trying to patch this up. So that's why I'm here. In 2021, HUD awarded the county a lead safe grant to support the reduction of lead hazards in residential units. HUD has a thing called lead safe where you encapsulate or check for lead. It isn't necessarily what you would consider to be full lead abatement, which is an important point I'll get back to. Soon after we got the grant, the county issued an RFP for lead hazard reduction services. We had several contractors apply and go on a list of approved vendors. Two that are germane here are Lewis and another called Jones Contracting. Lewis Construction had a master agreement with the county that started back in 2021. It had multiple renewals, which were all exercised. Ultimately, the contract expired in January of 25, but there was a purchase order that was still open that still had funding on it that was being drawn on as the lead jobs came up. This is where we had the disconnect. So in February of 25, the county agreed to provide the owners of Day Village with a grant to use lead funding to replace the windows in 58 units to remediate any potential lead hazards. You know, these are old units. We wanted to make sure. So we were going to replace 58 unit counts. The county assigned a general contractor from its list of approved vendors who had originally responded to the RFP, which in this case was Jones Contracting. Shortly after the project started, MDE, Maryland Department of the Environment, conducted an inspection. Their definition of lead safe and lead abatement were slightly different than HUD's, and they determined that it qualified as a lead abatement project, which meant Jones didn't have the proper certification. Lewis did, however, but we had to substitute them as the general contractor on the job. So far, so good. MDE approved of everything. We went to amend the contracts just to put Lewis's name in instead of Jones. What we found out when we went to do that is even though there was an active purchase order, we realized the contract had expired. So to meet the HUD timing requirements for when we can seek reimbursement and to make sure that we have a way to pay Lewis and to amend the contracts, we needed to ask for a retroactive PO in order to put Lewis into the deal. Lewis is the only contractor we have that's approved to do the work, and we want to make sure that we're able to be reimbursed by HUD. Again, MDE has approved the project. We're set to move forward. We're going to amend the contracts, but I have to tie these two pieces together. So we're asking the council to approve a retroactive contract with Lewis from January through November 30th, which is when our lead grant ends, and we have to have the funds expended by then. Sorry, that's a lot, but I just wanted to be transparent about all the stuff that happened.
Absolutely. Councilman Patoka.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Hickey, are there residents in the Days, is it called Days?
Day Village.
Day Village, are there residents living in there now?
Some there are. So what the general contract, part of what the general contractor did was to set up suites at Day Village where families would live while the remediation work was happening in their unit. So it's another reason this was also timely because we wanted to get people back in. So nobody's displaced. They all had a suite to stay in while the work's
So there's
being
not
done.
families living in a unit that's actively having lead removal or lead encapsulation?
No, sir.
Is the work underway or has it begun or?
It was approved to begin in August, but we have to get this done before they can go back in. We have to have Lewis on the
But are
agreement.
there construction workers on site doing the work now? Or
As I'm sure Councilman Crandall knows, Day Village is doing a lot of work on other units to try to, they're looking to invest more money in the units and work with the county to help with livability. So they're doing work on other units, but our folks aren't in the
on
units.
this contract though?
Not right now.
Okay. And are they replacing the windows or are they removing the lead and then repainting them?
It's a combination of replacing the windows, testing, and then putting new windows in.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, just real fast, yeah, Mr. Hickey, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, we've done a pilot for this particular development in the
Long
last
time ago.
couple years, right? In the
Yeah.
last maybe two or 3 years. So that's the work that you alluded to as far as those improvements go. The lead is something, I guess, completely different than what would be part of that pilot, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I just, I'm assuming you've seen the editor's note, and I think that you did the best you could in trying to clear up the confusion. I guess what's kind of puzzling and maybe troubling is in reading the auditor's question, it appears that, I mean, was work started without a valid contract? Like, I guess I'm like not following the chronology here
Right. So
accurately.
No, I appreciate that. So there was an ongoing master agreement with the county and Lewis. And Lewis had worked on other jobs prior to January of 25. There was a purchase order generated off of that contract that had money on it. And my understanding after lengthy discussions with purchasing is we can continue to bill against that PO. But the PO didn't have enough money and nobody anticipated having to use Lewis on this job. So when we went to add Lewis, there was no way to add them into the deal. There was no way to pay them directly, but for this is what I'm told by purchasing.
All right. Thank you. That helps. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilman Crandall. Any other questions from the members? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hickey.
Thank you all.
We appreciate you being here. Next up, we have Mr. Kenneth Hughes, Deputy Fire Chief. Is he here? Uh-oh. Calling Chief Dixon. All right, well, maybe he'll be here later. Jonathan Herbst from Chief of Real Estate Compliance on a contract of sale for Verizon Maryland LLC, 6601 Windsor Mill Road, Windsor Mill Sidewalk Project. Keep going, Councilman Jones, keep going.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the County Council. The administration is requesting an acquisition, which is actually the last one for phase one that needs to be approved by the County Council. This is a 0.103 acre piece for $15,150. As the chair said, it's from Verizon or one of their entities, Verizon Maryland LLC. About half of it is a fee simple taking or actually acquiring the land for the sidewalk. So that's 0.046 acres. And there's a small temporary construction easement of 0.032 acres, something that I just learned about today called a revertible slope easement, which is 0.024 acres. And the last piece of it is a drainage and utility easement, which is 0.001 acres. Again, this is part of the larger Windsor Mill Sidewalk project and the last item that needs to be approved by the council. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Councilman Jones? You just want to say hallelujah?
Hallelujah is right. I remember when we first talked about this project, and I remember taking this to Kevin Kamenetz, myself, and Delegate Emmett Burns, and some others, and we went and we had an appointment. We talked to Kevin and Kevin Kamenetz, that is, and then after everything was done, and I remember the county executive calling me back, and he says, we're going to do this, but this is going to be a lesson in government for you. See how long it takes to get done. And here we are at, 12 years later, and we're finally getting to the point where we're purchasing all the property. So as it relates to the Verizon, they have a long building down there. How does it work? Because if I recall, it's just a building and a sidewalk?
Yeah, it's a masonry building. From what I understand, this is just a small piece of the property. It's not impacting the building itself. So there we're acquiring, like I said, 0.046 acres that we're actually going to keep, and the rest of it are either easements for drainage and utility or temporary construction.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, sir. We
Thank you.
appreciate- Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Marks.
Thank you very much. John, thank you very much. You've been very helpful to our office on a number of issues, and appreciate you working on these right-of-way issues. I would like to please ask you and Mr. Russell to, and DPWT, to really try to work on the land acquisition issues at Cross and Honeygo. We're going through this dilemma of what to do at Honeygo and Cross, and the land acquisition doesn't seem to be moving as fast as a lot of us would like. I thank the department for the dialogue about this, thank the administration, and I thank you because you've been very helpful. I just wanted to please use this as a bully pulpit and mention that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Marks. Thank you, Mr. Herbst. We appreciate it. I'm sorry, Councilman Patoka.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Didn't know there'd be this many questions.
Mr.
when I
Herbst, just a
thought I was
quick
out.
question, not so much about the project, but do you have a sense, or maybe this is for Mr. Reed, what the fund source is for the acquisitions? Do we have a capital account that's specific for our right-of-way acquisitions? How does that work in the capital
Are
budget?
you asking specifically for Windsor Mill sidewalk or general?
Well, it applies to Windsor Mill sidewalk, but anytime the county desires to acquire private property for public good, do we have an account that's specific to right-of-way acquisition? A capital
It's
account?
public works, so real estate compliance, which is the office that, as you know, that I run, we don't have a separate budget. So everything comes from an agency, in this particular case, DPWT.
So I guess I'm trying to drill down into the DPWT budget. Is there is there a line item in the capital budget that says X amount of dollars is appropriated, has been authorized, I should say, for the acquisition of right-of-way? And it's a program account for acquisition of right-of-way. I'm trying to get a handle, are we just picking at at any funds out there, or is there a specific category of funds that are for right-of-way acquisitions?
Yeah, Councilman, it would come out of the applicable capital project of where it's budgeted. So, but for specifics, we could get you the specific line item if you're interested.
Yeah, I mean, this is applicable here, but I've got $3 million of sidewalk work well, this is my district as well. I think Councilman Jones, thank you for beginning the effort, but it currently is in the 2nd district. But I'm trying to think of where do those funds exist that were previously authorized for sidewalks that, where does it reside, in what line item, what bulk account, what program account does sidewalk, is it specific to a project? So the Pikesville sidewalks, is that a line item in the budget specific to Pikesville? Is it a line item that says the program bulk account for sidewalks? For example, I know that street reconstruction resides in into a bulk account, correct me if I'm wrong, and then we all advocate for streets we would like to extract some of that funds in our specific districts. So I just was wondering if if I'm correct, if that's how it exists for right-of-way acquisition.
Yeah, Councilman, so it would be in the applicable capital project. If you look at the back, you mentioned the bulk category and the capital budgets, you would see a listing of all of those. But, I'm happy to drill down the specifics. If you have questions, we can look into and provide.
Yeah, I'd be interested, especially, I think the planning board is having its community input meeting this Thursday at the planning board. And so I think as we gear up for the next capital improvement program, I think it's fiscal year 2027 to 2033? Is that correct? 2027 to 2033? Are we looking at 2023, Mr. Reed?
2032.
32, that's far out there, wow. It happened so fast. But as we're gearing up for that, I'd be interested in, in seeing where the funds, once they're authorized, where do they reside? And are we following
We're happy to
the
provide that.
path of their authorization? Thank you. 2032, wow. Can you believe it, Mr. Chair?
I cannot. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it. Okay, next up, we have Colonel Dennis Delp from the Police Department about DNA and marijuana testing services.
Good afternoon, Council. I'm here on behalf of the Police Department Administration to request approval for amendments to 3 contracts with Bodie Cellmark Forensics Incorporated, DNA Labs International Incorporated, and National Medical Service Incorporated to continue providing serology, body fluids, DNA, and marijuana testing services on an as-needed basis. The department advised that the contract extensions are necessary to avoid an interruption in services as the county requires additional time to resolicit the services and enter into a new term agreement. Proposed amendments, which commence upon council approval, extend the contracts approximately 6 months through April of 2026 or the date upon which the new agreements have been executed. Contracts provide the compensation may not exceed the amount appropriated for these services for the entire contract term. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Colonel Delp? Colonel Delp, I had one, the marijuana testing, is that for, who's that generally? Is that for someone who's been brought in and they're suspected of being under the influence, or is it?
So the marijuana testing is for, we test in our lab for the presence of THC. If the state's attorney's office specifically for certain cases requests the percentage of THC in each sample, then we send it out to an independent lab because it requires a little bit more work and different instruments so they can tell us the exact percentage of the THC involved.
Okay.
So that's why that would be sent out.
Okay. All right, good to know. All right, well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Chief Dixon is going to log on and testify on
Okay.
Resolution 48. If you want to give him a moment to get on, I'm not sure if you want to go on to something else until he gets on.
Yeah, and I was going to say you could always, because I think we have another work session on this, or we don't? Okay.
No, this is it.
All right, so someone needs to testify. Okay, all right, yeah, well, whenever he's ready. Why don't we'll move on to, I think Tony Russell's here for Director Buckler, and he has 3 items for us. Rural Public Transportation, 5304 Transportation Development Plan, and Specialized Transportation Services. These are all, oh, and another contract, yes.
Good evening, Mr. Chair.
GMC
Council
parking lot
members.
stripe. Sorry.
Tonight, before you look for acceptance of our Federal Rural Public Transportation Supplemental Act grant, this provides $486,753 in total funding to the county. So this includes $276,000 in federal funds passed through Maryland Department of Transportation, $42,922 in state matching funds provided by MDOT, and $167,778 in county matching funds. These are additional funds used to provide transportation for elderly people and people with disabilities who live far from public transportation. County Ride, as you know, provides on-demand handicap accessible transportation service to the county for people over 60 years old, adults with disabilities, and rural residents of all ages.
Okay. Any questions on that one? All right, I guess next up.
Next is our 5304, our transit planning grant. The Transit Administration is offering $85,000 in federal and state funds through the Maryland Department of Transportation and the FTA. These funds will be used to conduct comprehensive route optimization for the county circulator, the purple and the orange routes to improve efficiency, increase ridership, and better serve key destinations in Towson. There was a question about this, about where the funding would go, and the funding is actually going to be used in-house, working with our OIT department with the vendor to optimize the routing.
Okay.
The third is our Specialized Transportation Service Supplemental Grant. This allows Baltimore County to receive an additional $12,209 in state funding. These funds will be used to provide the transportation for the elderly and disabled folks who live in rural areas of Baltimore County.
Okay. And then you have one for a fiscal item for GMC contractors for parking lot striping.
Yes, administration's requesting approval of a contract with GMC Contracting, Inc. To provide parking lot striping at various county-owned lots. Be advised that the budget of Office and Finance and the Purchasing Division already knows that a second contract will be presented before you and it's forthcoming. This contract commences upon your approval, continues for 1 year, and will renew automatically for 4 additional one-year periods with the option to extend for 120 days. The estimate compensation for this contract and the one you'll see here in the future, providing services, will total $414,000. $414,000 for the entire approximate 5-year and 4-month term, including renewals and extensions.
Any questions from the members on parking lot striping? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That was riveting.
Mr. Chair,
Appreciate you being here.
Deputy Chief Hughes is on.
Okay, great.
He's on.
Hello, Chief Hughes. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good evening, and I apologize.
No worries.
For not being there in person.
You had a donation that you want to accept, correct?
That is correct. The Baltimore County Fire Department wishes to accept a donation from the National Education Center for Agricultural Safety. This is a $6,000 donation, which would include a Great Wall of Rescue tube and auger, as well as 1 training session. And they have also donated the room and board and transportation for the instructors. It's a wonderful opportunity to capitalize on some specialized training in the northern part of Baltimore County, and there will be no reoccurring costs associated with this.
Great. Grain bin rescue training.
That is correct.
That's got to be somewhat specialized.
Yes, it would be used in a situation where there's an engulfment hazard with grain in a silo, for example, if someone were to become trapped in that environment.
That could be a problem if you don't know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you, Chief Hughes. We glad you were able to get in here.
Thank you very much for your understanding. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a good afternoon.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Next up, we have Councilman Young on Bill 6725, zoning regulations, uses permitted in the office building residential OR1 zone. Councilman Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you all for the dialogue between now and the last meeting. Bill 6725 temporarily changes the uses in an OR1 zone to permit the storage of construction equipment if such storage is related to a state highway construction project and is related to a contractor that has a active bid or an active project with MDOT and the state. Also, just again, wanted to thank the members that reached out for clarification related to this bill. I appreciated the dialogue and was and am still happy to clarify the purpose and intent of the legislation. This bill is about efficiency and helping businesses that are actively working in our own districts and having a contract with state government or local government to work through and accomplish a project on time and under budget. This bill is about saving taxpayer dollars by creating a nearby space so that state highways contractors can provide and park their equipment and potential vehicles in order to accomplish a project that is directly related to the bid that they had received and the work they were doing for SHA and MDOT. Given the property's proximity that is related in this bill, it's close to, within one exit of Frederick Road where the work is being done and they're contracted specifically to work on. They had been working on the project for a number of months before contacting me about being cited for something and engaging with them through that process of not being sure if there was anything we could do, but then engaging with the administration and the department about what would be effective in meeting their needs and the needs and expectation of the public to complete their project within a quick period of time. This bill was drafted and I'd say approved, but also the language was also shared with the department to make sure that, one, we were not doing anything outside of turn, but also providing an opportunity for this to be done as expected within a reasonable period of time, and which was the original intent of the business owner when they put the bid out to MDOT to try and win it. So I would say that the improvements will benefit not just the community, but also the businesses that line Frederick Road and the entire corridor. This project is timely and it does not face, we want to make sure it doesn't face any more bureaucratic challenges, but also keeping in mind that we don't want this to be in perpetuity. We put a sunset at the end of, or expected end of the project, so that it won't continue past the date of this project being completed on Frederick Road. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the members? Councilman Crandall?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Councilman Young, thank you for answering my questions earlier today. Just to be clear, what you're proposing is not a permanent zoning change or an allowed use permanently on this particular property. So this is not, you already said it, but I just want to maybe have you reiterate it.
It is.
This is temporary for this project only. You're not, there are no plans to create a storage yard for heavy equipment in perpetuity.
That's accurate. It's not there. This isn't intended for perpetuity and changing the intended use for an OR1 zone. It's temporary and sunsetted for the timeline that this project would then need. So.
Okay. I just wanted to be very clear on that.
It doesn't permanently change anything. It's temporary and tied directly to the project that they've, or the timeline that we're aware of. So.
Got you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Crandall. Councilman Young, just a clarification. And I guess correct me if.
Sure.
I don't know if you're going to correct me. I guess I'm more asking a question. It does not seem like we've had any, to your knowledge, have you had any complaints about this site as far as noise or,
no,
backing up trucks at 5 o'clock in the morning or anything like that? It was, I think we had more of someone looked at this property at OR1 and said, well, this isn't permitted in that, but we.
Right. So no one reached out to my office with complaints about the property or the work being done. The property, the housing of vehicles or equipment there, or the work being done on Frederick Road, or any of them being tied together. We received no complaints leading up to this. We have gotten emails since the last meeting, vastly not from my district, and the folks that have reached out that have been from my district have asked just for clarification of what the intent was, and we've had decent conversations with folks that live in the area, recognizing what the scope of the project was.
Okay. Councilman Patoka.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilman Young, I am receiving emails on this in opposition, and it appears like it's folks from your district. I have to double check with my staff. Are you not receiving those same emails?
I'm receiving emails from folks outside my district that are in opposition to the project.
But constituents in your district aren't reaching out to you.
The folks that have reached out to me from my district have asked for clarification, but they haven't been reaching out in opposition to the project.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the members? Oh, Councilman Jones, sorry.
Yeah, so let me make sure I understand. This is the property right there next to the Beltway. Is literally it looks like it could be part of the off-ramp.
That's what's being used for storage, yes.
And I'm used to going that way a few years ago when my daughter was at Western Tech. So that's the back way to get up
Yeah,
to Western
back way to
Tech.
get to Western.
Yeah, because for the longest time, I saw a sign there, but I thought the property really probably could belong to the state highways. It's like right there, part of an off-ramp, seems like it.
It is directly next to the off-ramp property, and it butts up to the sound barrier that's also along 695.
So the only thing around it is some condos across the street?
Yes.
Have you have any complaints from them?
I've received no complaints from the folks that live across the street in the condominium or the condo association that I've engaged with in the past, but haven't heard anything from them either.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Jones and Young. All right, next up, we have, we're going to skip to a resolution. Resolution 4925, this is from Council Members Marks, Ertel, Patoka, and Crandall. Maryland Department of Environment permit Days Cove Reclamation Company. Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I know there's a number of speakers here. This resolution concerns, and if you could please look at the screen, I have a few slides. This resolution concerns the Days Cove Rubble Landfill, which is located at state-owned property at 6425 Days Cove Road in White Marsh. There's a picture. Actually, if you go back, Chris, first slide. Okay, sorry. There's a picture showing the location of this landfill. You can see that it is very close to the waterways in eastern Baltimore County. Next slide. The Days Cove Rubble Landfill treats construction debris and other material. The leachate that is discharged into nearby water includes a variety of pollutants, including sediment and toxic contaminants like arsenic, ammonia, copper, and zinc. The operator of this facility is seeking approval to increase the landfill's daily discharge from 12,000 to 25,000 gallons. The Baltimore Banner and the Bay Journal have chronicled numerous violations of the current permit. And the operator has made almost no effort to engage elected officials or the community, unlike others in this part of the county. Nearly 200 people packed a recent public hearing at the Perry Hall Library regarding the permit proposal. The Gunpowder Riverkeeper and the Gunpowder Valley Conservancy, both of which are represented here today, strongly oppose this plan. This resolution urges the state to deny the permit and develop a plan to close the landfill. I also have a letter here of support from my counterpart in Harford County, Councilwoman Nolanda Robert. She represents District A, which is the Joppatown area, in support of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Marks. Any questions from the members? Mrs. Belcastro, do you want to go to speakers?
Certainly. Our first speaker is Delegate Kathy Shalega. Delegate, you may unmute yourself and begin your testimony when you're ready. Delegate Shalega.
Oh, sorry about that. The audio cut out.
Well, this is not.
This isn't the bill. I was calling in for the other bill on the 24-hour restaurants.
My apologies. We'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Last three on. And all three speakers are here.
Is Catherine Martin, who is here in person.
Ms. Martin, good to see you. How are you?
Nice touch.
It's unique. I don't think a lot of people wear Dave's Cove t-shirts.
My name is
You ought to
Kathy
market
Reiner
that.
They
Martin.
wear David Marks t-shirts.
My name is Kathy Reiner Martin. My family are original waterfront property owners on the tidal Gunpowder River in Oliver Beach since 1936. I thank Councilman David Marks for offering the resolution 4925 and its current co-chairs, Councilman Ertel, Pertoka, and Crandall. As someone who grew up downstream on the tidal Gunpowder with Days Cove and its surrounding waterways, our home, as one of 5 generations who since 1936 have utilized, nurtured, and protected the full Gunpowder watershed as part of our heritage and lifeblood, as original residents of Oliver Beach for close to 100 years who have spent time on, in, and standing up for clean water and best upstream practices to keep our river fishable and swimmable, as best practices in the EPA's do no harm principle is not what the current or the expansion permit is requesting, as resolution 49-25 details non-compliance violations under the current permit, as this is one of 3 landfills within 5 miles of each other, the waters in the communities of the tidal Gunpowder are asked unfairly to bear the burden of others' waste byproducts for decades. As eventually whatever one does upstream tumbles and multiplies to downstream neighbors, filling holes with rubble waste being worth more than clean water. As community, we have labored hard to push for the best science to inform the best laws and regulations. As decisions were made without considering long-term aggregate consequences that the river and its inhabitants have been asked to bear for decades. As one of the 200 people who spoke at the permit hearing on September 16th at the Perry Hall Library against the permit, as it's time now to honor this land and the waters in and around Days Cove and fulfill the promises made in the DNR Secretary's office in the late 1980s before the original permit was granted to a group that included my mother, Vera Reiner, who served on the Gunpowder State Park Advisory Committee. This landfill, this rubble landfill, would be closed and off park property by the year 2000. As it's 25 years late, it's time to deny this permit, to close this landfill, and to let the lands and the waters heal in order for every creature who should be thriving in the land of pleasant living at the Days Cove Wilderness area of our fabulous Gunpowder State Park finally have that chance to thrive and enjoy its wildness, its beauty. I ask on behalf of the Oliver Beach Improvement Association for you all to vote for this resolution, urging MDE to deny the wastewater permit for Days Cove Reclamation Company and Days Cove Rubble Landfill and initiate a plan to close the site. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Any questions? Okay.
Thank you for all your efforts over the years, too.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Marie Laporte, followed by Theo Legader.
Ms. Laporte, how are you? Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure. My name is Marie Laporte. I'm here on behalf of the Greater Baltimore Group of the Sierra Club and the 11,000 members we represent in Baltimore County, Baltimore City, and Harford County. Members of the council, thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of Resolution 49-25, Maryland Department of the Environment, permit regarding Days Cove Reclamation Company. I wish to thank the bill sponsor, Councilman David Marks, and co-sponsors, Izzy Patoka, Mike Ertel, and Todd Crandell. Year after year, Marylanders are frustrated by the stalled progress to improve the water quality of our Chesapeake Bay watershed. The harm continues from non-point source pollution and pollution from places like Days Cove. We appreciate the council addressing this matter and hearing the concerns of hundreds of residents, who attended the public hearing or submitted written comments in opposition of this permit to expand the operations. While we support the resolution, we wish to abstain from support regarding the closure of the facility, as we lack sufficient information to know the implications of closing this facility. On a related matter, we are also concerned with the county's continued use of Wheelabrator Trash Incinerator, which is a major source of air pollution in the city and the county. While we appreciate the challenges to find ways to dispose of our solid waste, we urge the county not to continue contracting for incineration when the contract ends, and to dispose of our waste in a way that is less polluting and harmful to Baltimore County residents. According to the American Lung Association, Baltimore and Harford counties have F-rated air quality, the poorest in the state. A state that itself is in serious noncompliance with federally mandated air quality. While some of that pollution is not within our control, our use of Wheelabrator is. Wheelabrator emits large amounts of chromium, formaldehyde, lead, mercury, arsenic, and particulate matter, all known for their harm to human health. In the most recent EPA National Emissions Inventory, it is the top industrial emitter of mercury, producing 78% of all mercury emissions between Baltimore City and Baltimore County combined. Sierra Club continues to advocate for trash reduction and diversion through recycling, commercial and residential composting, and supporting beverage deposit bills. Further, Baltimore County is not meeting mandates for waste diversion and recycling. We strongly encourage the county to do more to handle our waste in a more sustainable way. But we very much appreciate this resolution for Days Cove, and thank you for doing it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Laporte.
Our next speaker is Theo Legador, who is here in person.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councilman Ketch.
Yes. I'd like to co-sponsor the resolution.
I think Mr. Secretary can handle that.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You sound vibrant, Councilman Ketch.
I am vibrant. And I plan to be there on next Monday. So
All right, we look forward to seeing you.
So do I. Thank you.
Yes, sir. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Council Chair. So I have more folks to thank tonight, and wanted to start by thanking Councilman Marks and Council Chair Ertel and Councilman now Patoka, Crandall, and Koch in co-sponsoring this bill that opposes the MDE discharge permit for Days Cove Rubble Landfill. I'm here to answer questions because I know this is not a nuanced issue, particularly given the public opposition that we've seen thus far. But I wanted to inform the council that just October 7, we received another public notice from Maryland Department of the Environment on the tentative determination for this permit that included the correct volume of discharge. Now, normally under Maryland rules, once that is published, one can ask for a hearing. So I have asked for another hearing, basically because I think this deserves a bit more public engagement. But with this resolution, clearly Baltimore County is sending the appropriate message to Maryland Department of Environment that the draft permit is not protective of environment, of sensitive species, and of community interest. So thank you, gentlemen, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Councilman Patoka.
Thank you, Mr. Lagardère. Question I have is, who's this young man that's getting a civic lesson this afternoon?
That's my son.
What's his
He's
name?
a fifth grader at Sparks Elementary. His name is Oscar.
Hey, Oscar. Welcome.
Thank you.
Marks, did you have a?
Sure. Oscar, you should be very proud of your dad. The Gunpowder Riverkeeper does phenomenal work in Baltimore County. You're a terrific advocate for us, and I just want to thank you for all your work on this issue.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, I have a
Councilman
question
Crandall.
probably for our lead sponsor. David, has the CEQ weighed in on this?
Yes. Kathy, do you want to address that?
Yes, the CEQ deliberated and sent an email. I don't remember exactly what it said, but it basically was saying for the landfill hearing, it was on record at that point to deny the permit.
I'll forward that. We have that email, so.
There we go. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm David's
Yes,
representative.
Ms. Martin represents.
Your appointee?
Yes.
To CEQ? Okay.
Thank you. So, Theo, I'm assuming that if we inserted an amendment requesting a second public hearing, you would be supporting that?
Certainly, sir. Yeah, I think that's appropriate, given that the volume was an error within the public notice. I'd call that legally deficient. I think that Maryland Department of Environment has allowed for an extension to the comment period. Initially, it was going to be September 22nd on a hearing date of September 16. So they have been responsive to our request for extending that public comment period to October 22. But with this new public notice, it triggers another opportunity to have another hearing. And I think on a whole, to be clear, this resolution opposes the current permit. The current permit is less protective than the permit that preceded it. In federal language, that's backsliding. That should not occur under the Clean Water Act. These permits should be tracking to be more protective, not less protective.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
No other questions? Okay. And I think that wraps up speakers on that, on Resolution 4925. And then I think we're going back to bills. So we will head to Bill 7125, which is my bill, open space fee in lieu of. And this is Mr. Secretary, did you want to talk about this a little bit? So this came about, I'll just intro it a second. We have a couple different categories of fee in lieu of, where if a building's built and there's not enough, you can't provide green space on the property, that you can pay a fee in lieu of. And we had a couple different categories that we feel needed to have some clarification. Last year, we passed a bill, the mixed use bill, the MU.
Mixed use overlay district.
Mixed use overlay, and we did not address the fee in lieu of in that new designation. So that's one of them, and Mr. Secretary will go through the others that we were looking at the mixed use, but when we started talking about this, we realized that we needed to look at a couple categories just to get some clarification on what those what they should be.
That's correct, Mr.
Or what
Chairman.
they could be.
The only thing I would add, sir, is as you alluded, there were, in addition to the MU district that was created pursuant to Bill 924 last April of 2024, the council also established the elderly and senior housing, or ESH, overlay in Bill 3924, and that was in June of 24. The council then also created the Eco Park, or EP, district in Bill 4324, and that was also enacted in June of 2024. Prior to that time, the council passed legislation to create the purpose-built student housing overlay. That was in 2021. And so what we discussed was kind of taking the original subject of the bill, which was MU, and also incorporating and updating the open space law to incorporate these other districts. and placing them in the appropriate tier that would be associated with those. I will say one thing we did is we included the Eco Park District. We didn't realize until after the bill had been introduced that the Eco Park District really encompasses non-residential uses at this point, at least. So we were probably a little too proactive in including that. So we would be happy to prepare a technical amendment related to that.
Okay. Is that all, Mr. Secretary?
Yes, but the MU and the ESH and the purpose-built student housing, they have been placed in the appropriate tier.
Okay. Any questions from the members on this? None? Okay.
And just as an FYI, we circulated a resolution today for possible introduction on Monday. That would be the companion resolution that actually sets the fees for these various overlay district and tiers. So that's going to be, so that way this bill and the resolution will be voted on at the same time.
Okay. And are they similar to what we have in DT or CT?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. All right. Great. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. And then next up, we have Bill 7225. This is from Councilman Marks, zoning regulations, restaurants in the Honeygo area, hours of operation.
Thank you very much. The Honeygo area is a special development district in northeastern Perry Hall. It was created in the mid-1990s to establish better architecture, stronger design standards, and tougher adequate public facilities ordinances than in the rest of the county. This bill prohibits a standard restaurant from operating between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. Located in the eastern and western sub-areas of the Honeygo area and within 250 feet of a residential building. You're going to be hearing from quite a few of the people who live in this area, many of whom purchased homes in a part of the Honeygo area with the understanding that a restaurant will be built, but not that restaurant would have the 24-hour service that is now expected to have. I ask all of you, what would you think if you bought a home and then suddenly found out that the restaurant that you were promised would be open for 24 hours a day? This bill doesn't kick out any specific variety of restaurant, but does say that the restaurant has to close and open at reasonable hours. That's all we're saying. Thank you.
Any questions for Councilman Marks before we get to speakers? Councilman Jones?
I guess I had one question. Is the issue that they're open, or will the restaurant emit noise, or what is the disturbance that the restaurant would cause to the residents that live there?
Well, you're going to hear from 10 or so of them today. I think they will tell you that noise is the primary concern. The traffic within the distance of their homes, I think those are the major concerns.
And
I'll let them speak for themselves, though.
And the restaurant is on Bel Air Road?
The restaurant is interior to Forge Road, Honeygo Boulevard and Bel Air Road.
Okay, thank you.
Adjacent to a residential community.
Now, Councilman Marks, does this affect, so further down in Honeygo, we have the shopping center that is definitely within 250 feet of homes, where Lib's Grill and Liberatories are. Do they close at 10?
I believe they do close by that point, yes.
Well, if they want to stay open till 11 or 12 on a weekend, does this affect them as well?
Affect them as well.
So have you talked to them at all about that? Because, do they know that?
I'll be talking to them. I mean, there's always some fine tuning of the bill. But I am responding to what I think are the concerns of my constituents. This is the first reading. I'm happy to look at amendments. I will point out that there have been conversations with the developer. This conversation's been going on since the summer, but I think my constituents are looking for some more concrete steps here.
I mean, are they open to a later closure, or is it just the 24-hour?
I think it's the 24 hours.
So if they closed at midnight or some reasonable hour that, I mean, we're talking about a Denny's.
I'm open to any suggestions.
And there's a lot of older people around there who I think don't sleep at night, who might want to go eat pancakes at 2 a.m. or maybe midnight.
I don't know of many senior citizens that go out or older folks at midnight.
It seems like a lot of my neighbors who are elderly don't sleep.
I'm open to suggestions.
Yes, Councilman Young.
Just trying to also understand the bill too. I know that since I've been here too, we've put in legislation related to bad actors or folks that have sort of worked within parameters, but then they haven't acted in good faith. So we've passed legislation to try and correct an issue, but also be punitive in some cases. Have we done something like this preemptively, where it's the fact that they're open 20, because this isn't a bar, right? It's just a restaurant. It's
Restaurant, right.
So do we have any other examples where we've preemptively done something like this to prevent a concern before it's become one? I'm just asking because you've had the engagement with your constituents. I'm just trying to understand from a legislative standpoint.
I mean, one thing I will say is Honeygo is unique in Baltimore County. I mean, a lot of the homes are built closer to businesses than in other places in the county. It's a special development district. I'm happy to look into that, though.
No worries. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I mean, I think it would be the same as I forget the development name that we built right in Towson that's literally right behind the movie theater, and there's bars within. I don't know why Honeygo's different than Towson.
I'll give you one major difference is that development opened after the movie theater opened, I believe, because I was councilman. So that's a key distinction here. I mean, imagine if you bought a home and it's the same development and you were told one type of restaurant was going to be opening, and then you buy the home and a different 24-hour type of restaurant opens. I would be upset too.
I could tell you, Mr. Chief.
Yes, Councilman Jones.
No, I could tell you up at, we see this from time to time, right? I mean, I think this is relatively close when you're talking about one restaurant to another. I'm thinking about a lot of my constituents bought a home up in, off of Franklin Boulevard near the Quarry Lake. And at the time, they all thought that a supermarket was going to come on the corner. Well, in my time being here, that whole project went from a supermarket to restaurant to shopping center, and now I think has landed on additional condos, just because no supermarket was willing to come there. And so things change. I'm just wondering how much of a change is it from one restaurant to another? I mean, at least they don't sell alcohol, right?
Right.
Denny's don't sell alcohol, right?
I don't believe so.
So they don't have a bar, because most restaurants, like you talk about Liberatories and other places, most restaurants have a bar. And, okay.
There might be vanilla liqueur in the coffee, but very low alcohol.
But I thank my constituents. I thank my constituents who are online today. They're going to describe in very real terms their concerns. And, if you agree with the preceding speaker, you can always just say ditto, or I agree with that speaker. But I thank them for participating.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Marks. Ms. Bill Castro, you want to?
Back to Delegate Shalega, yes.
Delegate Shalega.
Good, I guess, afternoon. Thank you all. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh, good, good, good. Thank you. I'm here in support of Councilman Marks's bill in concept. While you bring up some good points about Libatories and Lib's Grill, I live in this community, in the neighborhood, not right in the community adjacent to where this proposed restaurant is going. But this is a brand new community. I don't even know if they've sold all of the townhouses yet in the community. It's an over 55 community. And if you look at the plat of where this restaurant is going to go, it's a pretty small footprint. And so, I go to the grocery store and I run into folks, who are very concerned about a 24-hour restaurant. They love the idea of a restaurant, and I think you will hear about that. But literally, you could throw a football from these townhouses to where this restaurant's going to be located. And a 24-hour restaurant, I think, is not appropriate, especially after these folks literally just bought a home and, were told it would not be, or, never entertain the idea of a 24-hour restaurant, or they potentially wouldn't have bought their, new home for their over 55 community.
Okay.
Thank you, Delegate Chalega. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Shalega. Ms. Belcastro, next speaker.
Next speaker is Dan Williams. Mr. Williams, you may begin your testimony.
Sorry, thank you. Hello, gentlemen. I'm Dan Williams, president of the Forge Reserve Homeowners Association. I represent 30 households who unanimously agree with the position I'm about to summarize on Bill 7225. I've written 2 letters out to our council protesting the approval of a 24/7 establishment, which I hope you all have seen at least one of. I'm here today to represent my HOA's position on this topic, which these letters also conveyed. Forge Reserve is directly behind the Gatherings, a 55-year-plus community, and we're less than 1/10 of a mile from where the Denny's 24/7 operation is intended to be built. As a quick precursor to my summary, if you look at pictures of all the Denny's in Baltimore County on Google Maps, note that in all cases, the Denny's are located in largely zoned shopping areas and strip malls and very close to hotels, and not within 10 feet of homes and neighborhoods, which this Denny's would be. Why not? Because in the rest of the county, it's commonly understood that 24/7 dining does not belong in the fronts and backyards of homeowners. Here's my summary. We have a major issue with the notion of a 24/7 restaurant being added to the planned location because it will exponentially compound an existing intolerable issue. Number one, we approved of Wawa's, but a Wawa is not a place designed for loitering. We approved Wawa because it is an in and out service. Get gas, food, and go. However, the 24/7 open hours encourage loitering, which has brought major issues to our neighborhood and at late hours. Garbage in our streets and yards, street roaming vagabonds of all creed with no business roaming our streets at late hours, groups of pop engine enthusiasts revving pop engines at late hours, the kind of engines that sound like gunfire, cars peeling out. I sent a picture of tire marks which were left just 2 weeks ago, feet away from a townhome at the Gatherings. The townhome now has a for sale by owner sign in front. These marks woke my neighborhood up at 4 a.m. at the time they were left, but you'll not see this in a police report. Now, our approval of the Wawa should not be mistaken as a green light for 24/7 dining. True, the Forge Reserve HOA was informed and gave approval for a restaurant, a Steak and Shake, to be built so proximally to our homes years ago, and we are still fine with a Steak and Shake or any other dining establishment that operates within standard hours and closes by 10 p.m. We were never asked or consulted and gave no approval for a 24/7 dining. If Southern Land implied this was known by our HOA and we approved, that is a flat out lie. If Southern Land implies our consent to dining is implied that we're okay with 24/7 dining, that is also a lie, as this would contradict every homeowner's right to peaceful living. The additional loitering would drive the nuisance condition beyond any level that homeowners mere feet away should ever be expected to tolerate. We are fully established in our homesteads under the certainty and understanding that the neighborhoods in Honeygo Overlay would not be mere feet from a 24/7 dining facility. It would be both unprecedented and unethical to permit a 24/7 dining facility to be established within such proximity of our homes. We are very, very grateful that our councilman, David Marks, who Perry Hall has the utmost appreciation and gratitude for, has put legislation before you that will prohibit a 24/7 dining establishment from being built so close to our homes. Thank you, Councilman Marks. on behalf of the 30 homesteads within Forge Reserve, we ask that you do the right thing, the common sense thing, and vote yes and preserve the sanctity. Vote yes to Bill 7225 and preserve the sanctity that neighboring homeowners of the area rightfully deserve. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan.
And I'm happy to answer any questions too that were posed to David earlier.
Okay. Ms. Belcastro, thank you, sir. Ms. Belcastro, next speaker.
Our next speaker is Tom Costello. Mr. Costello, you may unmute yourself and begin your testimony.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good afternoon, council members. My name is Thomas Costello, here to testify in support of Bill 7225. I'm a lifelong Perry Hall, Baltimore County resident. I served for 10 years as the vice president of the Forge Reserve Homeowners Association, and I was part of the community task force that negotiated directly with the developer, Southern Land Company, on the original development plans for this property. My community Forge Reserve sits just a stone's throw from the proposed 24-hour Denny's, making our community, along with the gatherings, the 55-plus residents, among the most directly impacted about what's being considered today. From the start, we worked collaboratively with the Southern Land Company and in good faith alongside Councilman Marks to ensure the businesses proposed would align with the residential character of our community. The agreed upon plan at the time was for a Steak and Shake, and at no point was a 24-hour restaurant ever discussed or agreed upon. When the Steak and Shake fell through, Southern Land never returned to us or to Councilman Marks to share what they were pursuing, a 24-hour Denny's. Instead, our community learned about it through social media after the decision had already been made. That was a clear departure from the spirit of transparency and partnership that guided prior discussions. To be clear, this is not about Denny's as a company. It's about 24-hour operation being entirely inappropriate for this location. It sits, as Kathy Schlega said, just feet from homes at the gatherings filled with retirees and families who deserve peace, safety, and quiet at night. As my colleague Dan Williams said, we've already seen the negative effects of another nearby 24-hour business, Wawa, which has brought loud cars, loitering, late-night street racing, frequent police calls for disturbances, trash, people cutting through our neighborhood, a decline in peace, safety, and property appeal. Adding a 24-hour diner would only compound these issues. Beyond that, the development, whether it's exempt or not, it contradicts the purpose of the Honeygo Overlay District, which preserving the residential character and the livability of Perry Hall's Gateway. A brightly lit all-night diner is completely at odds with that vision. So in closing, I respectfully urge you to support Bill 7225 and protect the integrity, safety, and quality of life for Forge Reserve, the gatherings, and the broader Perry Hall community. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Costello.
Thank you, Tom.
Next speaker, Ms. Belcastro.
Our next speaker is Jason Walsh.
Mr. Walsh.
Mr. Walsh, you may unmute yourself and begin your testimony.
He is a DJ.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and fellow councilmen. My name is Jason Walsh, resident of the Forge Reserve, the adjacent community, as you've heard, a community of about 30 homes and the valuation of $600,000 to $700,000. I've been a board member of the HOA here for the last 13 or 14 years, held various roles within the HOA, and worked with Councilman Marks and Pat Keller at the Perry Hall Improvement Association, former Baltimore County Planning and Zoning Director. And as Tom Costello said, is also included in the task force that worked in good faith with Southern Land, the developer, which you heard about from the prior speakers. Also required to mention I'm a furloughed federal employee and testifying in my personal capacity. So I got a little extra time this week and probably next week. But I am in favor of 7225 and thank Councilman Marks for his continued open door policy with his constituents and for taking action when his residents in his district have asked to elevate these issues that are important for the peaceful enjoyment of the property. I'm for capitalism, so I'm not against Denny's. As Tom Costello said, I'm not against business development either. I've operated about a half dozen businesses and currently have 2 active LLCs that operate on a part-time basis and have done so for more than 3 decades. But I am against unnecessary residential noise, traffic, and bait and switch tactics that the developer here has used. There's no county guidelines, and something that might be thought about in the county. There's no county guidelines for noise. It's a reasonable amount, is what the county law says. This is a 55-plus community that is literally 5 feet away from the parking lot. The state guidelines at between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. are 55 decibels. 55 decibels is just a little bit more than your refrigerator running. 60 decibels is a normal conversation. So basically, you're asking 5 feet away from somebody's house to not be hearing all night doors slamming and car alarms going off and people talking in the parking lot at a 24/7 operation. So in summary, I am in favor of 7225. I will take any questions, and I thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much, Jason.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Next speaker, Ms. Belcastro.
Our next speaker is Raymond Maskell. You may begin your testimony.
Good afternoon, and thank you to the council for giving me and us an opportunity to speak on behalf of this bill. I have some things to add that others don't. I'd like to ask a question and maybe personalize this a little bit, because it is personal for myself and the other 44 homeowners. Side note, Ms. Shalega, there's 2 home sites left to be sold, and one of them is under contract, just hasn't settled yet. So 43 or 44 of the 45 have been sold. Our community, and I'm the president of the Perry Hall Place Homeowners Association, our community is 100% in support of this bill. And my question to the council members is, what would you think if you bought a home only later to find out that if you came out of your house and turned left or right, depending on the side of the street you lived on, and went 5 feet, as was mentioned before, that you were walking on the parking lot of a 24-hour Denny's? Nothing prepared us for that. The Wawa has been mentioned, and there is substantial homeowner video of, people on current homeowners' property in all hours of the day and night, coming from the Wawa, eating their food, and disposing of their trash. There have been some comments made on this call about, people wanting pancakes and eggs at 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, unfortunately, the only people that want that, and the only time I've been to a Denny's personally at 2 o'clock in the morning, is after leaving an event where drinking was happening. So the clientele that it will draw in the hours between midnight and 5 a.m. is not the kind of clientele that we thought we'd have in our neighborhood. And while, in our neighborhood, again, 100% of the people are against it. We've had several meetings. As a matter of fact, we've had several discussions with David Altfeld and Ron Shaftel from Southernland, including a conversation I had with David today. And there has been no movement on any conversation about the 24 hours. As a matter of fact, today, any cooperation that we're going to receive, or we're going to receive from the developer, who we have to live with, hopefully people like me get to live with them for another 20 years, but who we're going to have to live with in this community, the cooperation was withdrawn formally in a conversation I had with David, which seems disappointing and not quite fair. We wouldn't have picked a Denny's, but we don't disapprove of a Denny's. We disapprove of any operation that is 24 hours. There's a Double T Diner that was the Perry Hall Diner, which is about a mile away. They no longer operate 24 hours. Okay, thank you very much for listening.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Maskell. Next speaker, Ms. Belcastro.
Our next speaker is Antonio Akia. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You can begin your testimony when you're ready.
Great, thank you, Ms. Belcastro. Good evening, council. Mr. Marks, good evening, thanks for having us. Mr. Crandall, good evening. I'm an old gold ring wrestler, Tommy DeCarlo. I'm sure that rings a bell. But I'm not going to belabor the points of my other colleagues and my other neighbors. My point is this, is when people come to Perry Hall and there's an overlay and there's a planned unit development and people know what they're buying into, then you got to keep that promise to those homeowners and to those purchasers of real estate in the area that say, hey, look, you're going to get what you bargained for. And the point of my other speakers and Mr. Ray that just went prior to is that you can't pull the rug out from under people and then the old bait and switch, and next thing you know, we got a 24-hour Denny's. It causes havoc in the marketplace to have that type of uncertainty injected. And it's events like this that causes that uncertainty. As you know, Perry Hall has been exploding as far as real estate development and land developers making money from Perry Hall. The thing that gets me though is that my group, and I'm a past HOA president too of the Forge Reserve, but my group's got a lot of experience. They've dealt with the BGEs of the world, with Southern Land, I think a couple times now. Mr. Marks has been instrumental in helping us with those fights. And the thing is that those fights were negotiations and they were transparent and they were back and forth. And that just didn't happen with this developer on this specific project. And it shouldn't be that way. And if we're going to be a community, it should be social discourse to come to resolution, not to try to ram something through. But to get back to the 24-hour classification of this restaurant. When I was younger, I used to hear stories of people going there after drinking at bars, and you might even have witnessed the old eventual dine and dash. Regardless, that's what 24-hour shops are going to bring. And if we're going to bring it, it should be brought in the middle of a residential community. It should be more dedicated to a place such as like the corner of Rossville Boulevard and Bel Air Road, where the IHOP is, or where that Denny's is, for Pete's sake. So I just want to stress and point those facts out to the council, and to keep that in mind, that if you're going to attract people to Baltimore County to purchase land there, then you got to keep your promise. If you're going to promise development in a certain way, for example, the Honey Goat overlay, then as county council, you got to stick to it. And you got to give people what they bargained for. If not, it creates uncertainty, and you start messing with property values and property interests. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chair, Mr. Akia, before you go, still with us?
Yes, yeah, me?
It's Todd Crandall. Are you any relation to Sal?
Yeah, he was my brother, national prep champ.
Yeah, I didn't like coaching against him.
I wouldn't either, because we would go takedowns.
My regards, please.
He actually beat Jerry McNally. He took him down 6 times. That kid was 52-0, if you remember that name, Tom.
Yep.
It's Baltimore. Great.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you. Give Sal my best, please. Thank you.
Yeah, hey, I will. Listen, I'm looking for referees if you're interested.
All right.
We'll talk later. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. All right, next speaker, Ms. Belcastro.
Our next speaker is Janet Townley. Ms. Townley, you may unmute yourself and begin your testimony when you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, council members. My name's Jan Townley, and I'm a resident and board member of the Perry Hall Place HOA, which, as we all have brought forth, it's a new 55-plus community located immediately next to where the Denny's restaurant site will be. I'm here this afternoon on behalf of most of our neighbors to share our thoughts about the proposed Denny's. First, I believe that our community has accepted the opening of the Denny's, and we understand the value of a well-run restaurant. As it's been promised us, this is a great owner, manager, it creates jobs and the local dining options. But our concerns lie with the proposal for the restaurant to operate 24 hours a day. Residents live, as Ray said, immediately adjacent to the site. You can literally touch their parking lot. We feel that round-the-clock operations would have a negative impact on the quality of life on our residents, as their houses abut directly to where the cars will be parked. And the in and out, it'll be the how you egress from the restaurant also, since there's not an entrance from Bel Air Road, so they will come through our community. A 24-hour restaurant brings with it increased noise, lighting, and traffic throughout the night. Delivery trucks, late-night customers, and vehicles, obviously many noisy ones, disrupt what's otherwise a quiet residential area. Our community is made up of largely retirees and older adults, of whom choose to live here for its peace and safe atmosphere that we bought into. Constant overnight activity would directly undermine that and therefore lower our property values. In addition, we believe the business community would benefit if the operating hours would match the character of our area that we want to keep. That the nearby establishments usually close by 10 o'clock now, and maintains a better balance between the business and our residential area. Nearby diners have also changed their 24-hour operation to not being open after 9 or 10 p.m. We respectfully ask the council consider limiting the Denny's hours, for example, from 6 a.m. to 10, which would still allow the restaurant to thrive and serve us as a community, but also protect the quietness and hopefully the enjoyment of the neighbors. In short, we welcome Denny's, but we ask that its operations be aligned with the needs of our growing residential community. And we just hope that you take attention for considering our request. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Townley. Next speaker, Ms. Belcastro.
Mr. Chair, our next speaker who registered was Katie Maskell. I'm not sure it's related to Mr. Maskell.
Okay.
There are different addresses. If they are online, if you could please raise your hand and I can come back to you. You do have the ability to raise your hand from the attendee list. Our next registered speaker after that was Ronald Shaftel, who signed up to be virtual as well. Mr. Shaftel has not been able to be located on the attendee list unless he's calling by phone. Let me double check just really quick. Nope, he is not on by phone. The next speaker after that, I apologize, is Jason Johnson.
There's a Wayne Linhart.
Oh, my apologies. Well, we'll go with Mr. Johnson, and then I'll call Mr. Linhart. Mr. Johnson, when you're ready, you may begin your testimony.
Hi, thank you for your time. I don't have any comments to add at this time, but I am in favor of Bill 7225. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Next, I'll call Wayne Linhart. Mr. Linhart, you may unmute yourself and begin your testimony when you're ready.
Good afternoon. I've been a resident of Perry Hall for 39 years. I own my home in Perry Hall Farms, which is about 1.5 miles away from the property in question. And thank you for a couple minutes to speak to you. While my home is not adjacent to the property in question, I spend a lot of time in that area, walking to and through that space on a weekly basis. What I walk through are streets of a bedroom community where families, both 55 and older, and those with children, live. And it's one of the finest neighborhoods we have in Perry Hall. There are at least 50 individual dwellings within yards of this property, which is why it is inconsistent with the original planning for this property to have operations between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. On the site. When the property was first announced, it was to be retail space that included a Steak and Shake, a fast food restaurant with drive-through service. Most of these stores end operations at 10 p.m., not stay open all night. Lighting this property for safety, with parking spaces pushed up against people's homes, night deliveries, and patron noise is inconsistent with the original plan for this retail space. We risk interrupting the peace and property appeal of this residential neighborhood, which is a gateway to Perry Hall. There is little expected patronage from Perry Hall residents adjacent to that community between 10 a.m. and 6 a.m. Forge Reserve and Gathering residents don't need the dining services next to their bedrooms. We must preserve the character of Perry Hall and a 24/7 diner at this site does not serve the best interests of our community. As evidenced by the Denny's that is 5.5 miles away on East Joppa Road, a business like this is better placed in a more dense commercial space where patronage is expected. I appeal to you to support yes to 7225. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Linhart.
Apparently, Mr. Sheftel is on. I just wanted that, I have no one on my attendee list with their hand raised at this time. And I don't even see his name. Oh, there he is. All of a sudden, he's appeared. He wasn't on there 2 minutes ago. Mr. Sheftel, are you there? You may unmute yourself. Are you there, sir?
Yes,
Okay.
great. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Whenever you're ready, you may begin your
Excellent.
testimony.
Thank you so much. I was on my laptop listening to all the testimony from the very beginning, so I'm not sure what happened, but I switched to my cell phone, so I'm glad I'm able to get on and testify. I'll start now. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. My name is Ron Shaftel, and I'm here to testify against Bill 72-25. My company, the Southern Land Company, owns the shops at Perry Hall, which is located at the corner of Bel Air Road and Honeygo Boulevard. The Southern Land Company has been building Class A projects in Perry Hall for over 25 years, and additionally has been working tirelessly for several years now and volunteered significant time and funding for the creation of the Honeygo Veterans Memorial Park that's going to be on Honeygo Boulevard. In 2019, we obtained approval for the shops at Perry Hall to include a Wawa, Valvoline, Auto Bell Car Wash, and 2 commercial restaurant pads. In 2021, we were able to amend the plan to add an age-restricted residential component known as the Gatherings at Perry Hall. For years, we have worked to fill the 2 remaining restaurant pads with tenants, but we have struggled due to the perceived lack of rooftops in the immediate surrounding area. We hired 2 of the largest commercial real estate marketing companies in the area, and we have not been able to find viable restaurant uses for this site. Fortunately, last year we were able to sign a lease with a Denny's family restaurant. Denny's was established in 1953 and is the largest family sit-down restaurant chain in the country and is famous for serving its around-the-clock breakfast. The operator is an experienced Denny's restaurant owner that has 9 other sites in the Mid-Atlantic area. They have an excellent track record of maintaining a safe and clean Denny's restaurant. This action by Councilman Marks is preemptive, and no one was ever told there would not be a 24-hour restaurant. After completing the lease with Denny's, we obtained all approvals, and Denny's applied for their building permit for the site. We've also completed all of the water and sewer connections, curb and gutter, stormwater management, storm drain to serve the Denny's restaurant. The pads are 100% finished and ready. After signing the lease and performing these improvements, Councilman Marks connected with us and connected us with the community leader for the gatherings. They had concerns about the restaurant being 24 hours, even though the adjacent Wawa is also 24 hours. We engaged in a friendly and productive meeting with a number of the community members and discussed options to try to put them at ease, including installing security cameras, allocating certain parking spaces for the residents, installing bollards for traffic control, and other items the community requested. The tone of the conversation was very friendly, and we thought we were near an agreement. But then Bill 7225 was introduced and undermined our efforts with the community. The sole purpose of this bill is to kill the Denny's restaurant. This is very unfair to use legislation to try to kill a specific project that has such a long history and is so close to completion. It is piecemeal zoning after the fact and would cause us to breach our lease and potentially subject us to costly litigation and leave us without any viable tenant for the restaurant pad at the shops at Perry Hall. We know the councilman wants a Ruth's Chris here. He has said that to me personally multiple times, but unfortunately, they have not shown interest in this site. We urge the council not to pass this bill. The nearby residents purchased their homes after the Wawa, Valvoline, and Autobo car wash were already constructed and open for business. There is no secret that they were purchasing homes adjacent to a commercial development with uses that frankly are more impactful than a family-style restaurant like Denny's. Please allow us to fill our restaurant pad with the Denny's restaurant. Vote against 7225. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Councilman Moore?
I don't have a question, but, I guess people have powers of clairvoyance and think that I'm thinking of Ruth's Chris Steakhouses, and I can't tell you the last time I've been to a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. I prefer Chick-fil-A, things like that. But, it's great to hear developers complain about special bills, about bills that don't benefit them, but benefit the community.
Thank you, Councilman Moore. Councilman Jones?
I had a question, but I guess Mr. Sheftel, that's okay. No, that's not necessary. Thank you.
Okay. Was that all the speakers?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right, well, that's a wrap for Bill 7225, but not for us. And we're going to move on to, we're back to resolutions, I believe. So Resolution 5025, this is also from Councilman Marks, 2024 CZMP correction of issues.
Yes, this is the companion resolution to Bill 6024. The zoning issues are attached and meet all the criterias of the bill that we passed the last session.
Any questions for Councilman Marks on this bill? No? Okay. And we have Resolution 5125. This is from Councilman Jones. Approve review of a plan unit development at Red Run Meadows. Councilman Jones?
Yes, I'll be brief. Basically, this is property on Red Run Boulevard. Has been vacant for quite some time. Is that towards the end, right where the commercial corridor sort of meets the residential component of the community. And we're happy to see that someone is willing to put some homes there and turn this piece of property that has been vacant for quite some time into homes for people and additional revenue for Baltimore County. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. Councilman Patoka?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilman Jones, is there a community benefit associated with this planned unit development?
There will be. We're working on it right now. It'll be done before we vote on it.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Do it, Denny's.
Good. I'll take it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That wasn't funny.
Good one. Good one.
That was not funny to the Honey Goat community. Do we have to go over these miscellaneous business, or that you'll just do that at legislative?
Respondents?
Yes.
No.
No, okay.
Thank you.
First day as chair?
I'm struggling. And we don't have 6 hours ahead of us, so we should all be thankful. I think that's all then.
It is.
Okay, well, I guess we don't adjourn, but a meeting adjourned. See you on Monday.